As a matter of fact, I wanted to start off with last year, and I actually didn't know where to start off with because we've been doing a lot. And I just was thinking and planning about this presentation, but I've decided to take this slide as the basis of the presentation as I did last year. Because I told last year that we are planning to do things about IoT, vertical applications, more analytics. Therefore, how much of this we've accomplished and what is the target for the next year will be the theme of the presentation. Now, as you know, complex event processing was the previous name that we used, which we converted into streaming analytics. But the main story is about the streaming data coming in and just being analyzed and evaluated. As a matter of fact, I mean, what is the reason that we're so much obsessed with the streaming data? But there are two answers to this. Actually, we are just living in front of the stream, and it's in our spirit, and we're living on the shores of this stream. The biggest stream of the world is just next to us. We're living in a city where a city passes through, where a sea passes through. Therefore, probably it's one of the best locations for streaming. Therefore, it's in our spirit. Maybe that's the reason why. This is, of course, the soft reason, and there must be a technical explanation. And I think that for the technical explanation, together with the big data world, the traditionally coming data had to be stored in a different way. But anyway, you have to store data, but in various ways. And you will need to store various data. And the idea was to do a lot of things on the data, but something was missing. Because, you know, the big data is really a big definition, but about storing this big data, something was missing. So no SQs and databases, some flexibilities relieved us. But anyway, we're storing data. Anyway, we're just keeping data to do a lot of things on data. And even beyond that, we have a 360-degree of approach after having stored data. Technology companies started to tell us that the data has grown so big and diversified that probably we will need a data centrist. We have some, of course, different disciplines with us, but actually it shouldn't be done with science, because looking at it from the end user, it's not to do with the data center science. Or I mean, when I buy a car, I need to drive it with the speed that I like. So the technology companies or this propaganda, to be honest, just led to emergence of big data. But next to it, as a rescue to this big data, fast data track availability started coming off. I think this has made the other arms of big data more meaningful, because in the used cases, what is being done in the big data projects, what makes a difference, what makes people excited is mostly the real-time related structures. Because even in the past, we used to store data. I mean, we also used to use different channels for storing data, and I don't think there was a lot to excite us. But when it comes to real time, I think probably we've just moved to a more humanistic way. The slogan this year is connect to real time. Connect means a communication, because at the end of the day, for connection, you need two or more things to communicate with each other, which must be in real time. When I say something, if it's said the next day, it's not a connection nor a real time. Therefore, today, what we are trying to do is to make big data more understandable, more usable, which I think has been the case. And together with streaming, of course, together with streaming, a more exciting time is starting off now. I think we will see that more in the use cases in the coming period, together with the Internet of Things, IoT. This will be introduced into our lives. Actually, we will have that is also something to do with the companies as us, but our perspective to the customers is changing. We're speaking about 360 CRMs and perspectives to the customer, but indeed, maybe we were just looking into 30 degrees of the customer, yet the customer has a big life in the backstage. Therefore, through our channels as a corporate channel, there are some, of course, intersection points that we used to know, and that was the 360 degrees, which I'm sure that was not the case. And probably you have had that suspicion that it might not be 360 degrees, but now we do see it quite clearly. And the striking point to your channels is probably 10, 20, or 30 degrees maximum. But in the world of IoT, it's now possible to have a true 360 degrees of the corporate lives and the other portion that you don't see, and also to create value to that portion, and to create value to that other portion as well. Now, Ahmet was talking about wearable devices that will be used in the, cars, on the people themselves, and smart cities, where it's now possible to see the life in a broader angle. We will start to now experience, of course, the part that technology touches life of people. Therefore, I think in relations of the corporations with the customers, there will need to be a revision. Yes, there is no need for us to limit ourselves with these channels, and yet we will have the other elements, the other components of the 360 degrees, where we can just transport those experiences. Because in IoT, everything starts with a cloud of dust and gas, but now we have people who know how to use this technology with the devices that I've been talking about, because things are becoming more tangible now. And with this, I think, in EVAM and IoT and all the processing, I think we will need to have one of the platforms that we must just target in our practice. And for that, of course, we need a dedicated initiative, which we've already started. Here, the IoT platforms and wearable devices, and together with the streaming structure of ours, we wanted to create a solution on top of which we wanted to create a vertical, structure. Therefore, the nice things to do is just IoT may also be interpreted like, for instance, for healthcare. And how can we do it? Joining it with wearable devices and combining it with the relative parties, we've started a dedicated procedure as health ring, particularly in the preventive care. By using those wearable devices, we seat the individual together with many counterparts, and together with them we contribute to the life of the individual as to how they can have a healthier life. Here there is a platform which can be transformed into a more healthy living. Next year, maybe for you or with you, we'll be doing a similar project with you. But for us, it was an application of EVAM on the vertical side. Now, we will be testing ourselves on this platform. Of course, to be able to do all of this, by the way, bracelets that you were put on, if you put them on, you will have EVAM working on the background and mobile applications on top of it, and you will be given some ideas as to how these can be combined. Now, a similar thing is, actually, this is something that we kicked off with our partners. Unlike last year, by the way, this year we are working more closely with the partners, and together with our partners, now we're essentially developing many vertical platforms. For instance, with a bank, we are running an analytical work, and it's been in application. One of the contributions of Turkcell process was enterprise cash, which I think is quite a relevant product out there. Now, therefore, the health ring, that is our own product. And in the coming period, together with our partners, Vertical will be launched. As Levent explained, on top of it, they've just introduced a loyalty solution. Therefore, in the coming period, we will be able to launch more vertical platforms, because underneath these platforms, or the core platform that will be underneath these platforms, will be enriched by verticals. Now, also linking this with the last year's message, we are quite open, as you can see, in the projects, to have a collective work, and we are quite eager to have a collective working. Therefore, we will be having our initiative to work with you in the future. Actually, we have 4x4 or 4.4 release that we also try to make ready for this event, because when we want to do a lot of things on top of this, the structure of EVAM that is working underneath must be quite sound, which I think is really a thing that's been subject to development disciplines and the experiences, maybe some harsh experiences that we had to go through. The first launch was in 2010. At the end of these 7 years, we now have reached a certain point in 4x4 in terms of stability. Actually, this is a very good indication that we've just transformed this from 4.4 to 4x4. And security, by the way, together with the IoT world, security is just reaching a significant point, and we've been doing a lot of significant work about security. I don't want to bore you with details, but it's now becoming to work in a more distributed structure, in a more reliable, a safer way. We can have a very fast tracking for our partners, where they can introduce EVAM into life. For instance, Docker support now is introduced. You don't need to install the product, and when you have some, of course, facilities introduced, it will start working. So what is the plan now in the coming period? So what is next? Probably next year I will start off with this slide, but we have 3 main targets. One is that the connected world is getting bigger. Now with the health ring, the initiative that we've created has just been exceeded. Now we've gone beyond it. Now the cars are connected, and there are many sensors of these devices. Actually, the connected world is just getting bigger. Many standards are emerging, so they're becoming major. So there is still a lot to be done on this side. Our growth there probably will be triggered further. To be able to do that, of course, we will continue to be a candidate. Secondly, for Amazon and Azure, what we need to do is to just have a single click, and you will have the chance of creating Amazon machine instance, the background of which you don't need to know, and on top of it you can use EVAM. And on the background there is a flexible cloud structure probably that will be started off. And there is a never-ending world, analytical world, and in this analytical world we have every year actually flowing into this direction. Actually, last year we've talked about the part that we've been batching so far, about score calculations. And we are trying to do it on SIM now, on stream. We do the data analysis on stream, we try to do the clustering on stream, we try to do classification on the stream. Without, of course, storing data, we try to do it on stream. Actually, there are some interesting, maybe you heard of it, or not, but there are some open source projects globally that we've been working in close touch with them. Therefore, it's a never-ending story. Probably will be there next year as well for the analytical part. Now, these 3 domains will actually set the stage for us as the roadmap of the coming periods. That's all I wanted to share with you. Thank you very much. Actually, I think it's time for a break, a coffee break, and we can continue our talk there. Thank you.